Hey guys and gals, friends of YouTube, Love to Fly Helis here. We are back for part 3 of building the SIG Something Extra. We've got tail feathers in on the last segment, the servo's all in, and you know, I think I told you in the first section that it called for the landing gear second step in the book, but I like to leave that off so I can leave my fuselage sitting, you know, level on the table and stuff without having to, or if I want to lay it on its side and stuff. So anyway, got all that done. I don't have a whole lot of time today, so we'll do the landing gear, and then maybe if I have time, canopy. I don't know, we'll see where I get to, but got everything laid out here. I'm putting different wheels on it. I've got some Hanger 9 rubber wheels I like better. It came with the little foam ones. These are 2 3/4 inch, 2.75. It came with 2.5, which will work on grass, but I like these a little better. These are just slightly heavier, but it's not enough to make any difference on this plane. The tail wheel came with this little teeny tiny wheel on it. I don't like that, so I usually change those. So I'm switching to this. It's probably a 1 inch or 1 1/8. So we're going to put that on there and give it a little bit more rolling ability in the grass instead of just dragging down in there. So I do have to find a little wheel collar to put on the back side of this. I forgot to do that. I will do that right quick. I think I've got everything else laid out here, all the bolts, wheel pants, stuff to go on it. Very nice solid wheel pants. I got a good piece of plywood inside with blind nuts for the screws to hold them on. I like that instead of the axle bolts having to hold them. So anyway, let me grab a wheel collar and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Had to get a little wheel collar to put behind the back side of that so it wouldn't slip up on that curve, but I like this bigger wheel much better. So got that out of the way. Now I had to drill out the holes in these wheels. They were slightly small, but I got them fitting perfect. See if I'm lucky enough for that to fit. Yep. Let's get all these off of here. Let's see. See if we can get this mounted up on the axle. The axle mounted up on the landing gear frame. Says in the book to leave a 1/8 of an inch between the nut and that excuse me, wheel collar right there, so we're gonna leave just about that. Actually, I'm gonna Loctite both of these, put some around there, and okay, and we'll put some on the other side. Not my favorite kind of axles, but they'll work. I prefer the Great Plains brand that really lock on here good. Alright, let's see if we can get this crescent wrench on this side, socket on the back side. Let's tighten that dude down. So if I go the right way with the ratchet, tighten it instead of loosen it. Okay. Now, let's try this again. Now, the nut on this outside has to be, the sides of it have to be parallel up and down. Get over here. The sides of that, the square part, have to be parallel up and down with this. And the reason for that, we'll tighten that on around there just a little. Now let me give this a 1 more cinch. Okay, the reason for that is so your wheel pants will slide down over that nut. Actually, the hole in here is big enough. The instructions showed that it had to be straight up and down, but it doesn't. It's plenty big enough for that to go in there anyway. But a lot of planes are that way. The nut has to be square, 90 degree with this landing gear strut, so the groove in your wheel pant will slide down over it. Instructions say that on this one, but it's actually not the case. It's bigger. Okay, let's put, well, here, we'll do this. We got to put Loctite on our set screws. Any metal to metal screws other than on an engine doesn't do any good on heat, like a hot engine. So, but in anywhere else, metal to metal screws, use blue Loctite. Do not use red if you don't, unless you don't ever want it to come off. You can't get it loose. All right, slide that on there. It's also, I'm kind of marking this. Let me get my marker here. It's a good idea to mark where your bolt, your lock nut's going to be on your axle, and then take a Dremel and make a flat spot right there. Kind of hard to hold steady. Okay, now don't take it all the way to the end. That way, if your set nut does happen to loosen up just a little bit, it won't come completely off. Alright, let's get our set screw out of there. Put our Loctite on it. This system right here applies to just about any plane you're building. Almost all of them are pretty much the same. And we want to leave a little bit of slack so the wheel can roll smoothly. Alright. Alright, there we go. Rolls nice and smooth. Now, it's got these little black screws, machine screws, to go into your blind nuts. They are metal blind nuts, so we're going to put Loctite on those also. So, we're going to get the first one started. Let me bet my Allen wrench. Of course not. I have to find another one that fits it. Let's see. Let me try this metric here and see what. No. Or this is SAE. It's going to be a metric. Sorry. Okay. I'm betting it's that one. Nope. Too big. So, gotta be this one. There we go. Alright, that one goes in that. I don't want to get these mixed up. I got two different pouches here. One for in here and one in my toolbox. Okay, now we've got that going. Let's get some Loctite on here. And I'm going to run that through the hole on the back side of this. Get a camera up here where you can see. Get it started by hand. Okay, now let's do the other one. Make sure you don't cross thread them. That will ruin your bolts or your blind nuts, one of the two. Now, I forgot to mention, but I did also look. This has 3 holes. The third center hole goes to the back of the plane, so I did get it on there right. I managed to look at that and get it right. Okay, let's cinch these down. Okay, now let's get our other one out here. One of the nuts off. Now what I'm doing is putting this right next to the threads. You don't want that up onto the threads of the bolt of the axle. So we're come on. We're going to set this right at the edge. Tighten that down good. And then we'll get our other side here. We're going to undo that nut a little bit. We're going to put some Loctite in behind it. And then we're going to thread that down, leaving our little space between the nut and the wheel collar. Okay. Now we're going to put Loctite on the other side. Put it through the hole. Put the nut on it. Okay. Same thing. I'm going to get a hold of this side. With my crescent wrench. We're going to tighten this really snug. Don't twist it off. Okay, our sides are almost parallel. Got to move it just a hair. There we go. Alright, let's put our wheel on. And then our, oh yeah, we got to do a flat spot. Okay, I'm going to mark it. Get my Dremel out here again. Just eyeball it and get it as flat as you can. If you don't have a Dremel, I would advise getting one. If not, you can use a file to do this, but it's going to take you a while. Get that notch out of there, but it can be done. So, get some Loctite on that set screw. Back in our wheel collar. I keep a whole bunch of these in my toolbox. These wheel collars, because you never know when one's going to come loose at the field or what, and always have extras. Okay, that should fit. Let's make sure it's centered up. Okay, our other two screws. Alright. Come on. I'll turn this around. Sometimes it helps to put the Allen wrench in it. Get it started straighter. There it goes. I think. No, it's not either. Why is that not wanting to start? There we go. Kind of hard to get started sometimes. Alright, let's get our other one in here before we tighten anything down. Yep, they're both at the same angle, so we're good. Tighten them on down good. Okay. That one goes in there. Alright, we got our landing gear. On this one, got our tail wheel ready. Let me get some of this out of the way here so I don't knock a hole in the fuselage that I don't want. Alright, we're going to turn it upside down. I'm going to lay the tail over here out of the way. And we're going to set that on there. Yep, holes actually line up. How about that? Well, one of them looks a little bit off. Sometimes they're not real good about getting these centered up. We may have to wallow these out just a little. I don't know. They're not lining up just great. I've run into that on a couple other kits as well. Alright, we got a flat washer. There's no need to use a lock washer since we're using Loctite. We're going into metal blind nuts. Okay, we'll get a little bit of stuff on there. We're going to go this side first. We're just going to start that about 7 or 8 threads. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have trouble with the back one lining up. It's too far forward, so what we're going to have to do is wallow this middle hole out just a little bit. Alright, let me find a drill bit. That'll work. I don't know if this little one will have enough power or not. I may have to get my big one out. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I did. We're going to wallow it toward the front. Hopefully that will line up now. Alright, let's get our one back. We got our stuff already on. Our Loctite. Yeah, I think that'll work now. Okay. Let's start the other side one. Put some Loctite on it. Start it just a little bit. Now let's hope we got that walled out. Well, I don't know. May have to drill some more just a little. If I can just get it started, we can torque it down in there. That's what we'll do. We'll raise the landing gear up. That'll kind of, well, it didn't really bind them. We're good. Alright, let me find the wrench that fits that. Should also be a metric. And button. Looks like that one right there. Yeah. It's a 3mm head. Okay, snug that side down. We did get our wheel pants facing forward. That's good. Like I say, the landing gear is relatively simple, and most of these ARF kits are pretty much the same thing. Some of them have 4 screws, some of them 3, some of them only 2. Bigger the plane, of course, you're probably going to have 4, but alright, we had to wallow that one out just a little bit, get that to line up. Gonna cinch them down good. Okay, not over tighten them, you don't want to strip them out. But good and snug. Okay. Alright, we have front landing gear and wheel pants. Awesome. Now, let's turn this around and see if I can get this laid here where you can see what I'm doing. Let me get all my pieces parts for one thing. There's that. Okay. Well, they've already got holes started for this, and that goes into wood, so you shouldn't have to drill these out, I don't think. Let's check them and see. They've got a little pinhole there. I don't know if it's actually drilled or not. Yeah. Okay, no Loctite on this. It does fit in this real tight. The hole's not drilled out big enough for the screw. So, we got to get it started in there. Now, seeing as how that's going to thread into that plastic as well, we want to go ahead and set this on here so it'll thread into that and the wood at the same time. That screwdriver's slipping a little. Let's get a flat head. Put it in there. Okay. Our other holes lined up good. I'm going to start it with this Phillips head. This is kind of a tight fit down in this landing gear. I know I've got the camera at the wrong angle here, but you'll see what I'm talking about. The screw head actually kind of splays the plastic out as it's going down in there. It's too big of a screw, but it'll work. Come on, baby. Okay, that one's down. Now, if you notice, there's a wheel collar right here. I'm not going to set it just yet. And this bar lays right on the bottom of your rudder. Okay, and then you've got this little bolt here. I'll get a hold of it with some. Find my pliers. Get that off of there. Okay. Get that little bitty nut off. Take your bolt out. Let me guess, it's going to be threaded in the plastic. It's just kind of snug. Once you get the head backed up enough, should be able to pull it out. There we go. Alright, there is a little bit of flash on here on the side, so I'm going to take my razor knife, shave that off. Nice and neat. Okay, now we want a drill bit. It is about the same size. That's pretty close right there. That's a 1/16. So get that out of there. Let's put this one in. Now what you want to do is slide this up over your rudder. It's a tight fit. Get the bar in it. Slide it up just 3/4 of an inch in and squish it down on there. Okay, now drill your hole through there. Okay. Find the hole. There it is. Alright, there, we got it all the way through. Okay. Now, we're going to put a little Loctite on that, because it's metal to metal. And we're going to thread our little bitty nut on there. You can run it up almost to the plastic there. Now, being careful not to let my screwdriver slip out of my hand and poke a hole in my rudder, we're going to cinch that down good against that plastic clamp. Don't, again, kind of like the control horns, don't squish it into your wood. Just snug it down where it's on both sides. Your Loctite's going to hold that on there. So you don't have to worry about that coming loose. Okay. We have a tail wheel. Okay. Bolted onto, there's a solid wood piece in here I had put one on my 70 size revolver one time, and it didn't come with this type of wheel. I didn't like the one it came with, so I put one of these, had the springs on it. Anyway, I had to cut the covering back and go in there and glue in a solid wood block, because all it was balsa, so we could screw that down. But this one comes with one already back here when it's set up for that. Okay, there we got the landing gear all ready. Cool. I like that bigger wheel on the back for sure. Alright, now we're gonna kind of scoot this back here out of the way. Alright, I may have to pause here for a minute on a couple things. Let me get this stuff put up before I lose track of it. Alright, now in the instructions it shows to glue your canopy on here, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can glue it down and put tape around it and let it set overnight, and it'll be fine. I like to put mine on with screws just in case I ever want to take it off. So, you know, what if I decide I want to change this pilot? And if it's glued on there, it's hard to get off without tearing up covering stuff. So I put screws in it. Now here's the thing. The sides here are more solid wood. Right in here. Now, as you get up to the bulkhead, well, here you can see it right here where that seam is. From this point back, it's solid wood on the side. From here up, it's balsa. It's real soft balsa. Now there is a little wood spar strengthener right in the center, so we can put a center screw right there. But on these sides right here, this windshield, see how far forward it comes? We're going to need a screw right in here. So what I'm going to do, we're going to mark that. I'm going to hold my canopy. You want it even on the back. Come on. Centered up. And we're going to, you know what? I might be able to get one right into that. I might be able to reach it right there. I think I can. Like the little engine said, I think I can. I think I can. I'm going to get in line with that joint just behind it. Down low, I'm going to drill a hole. Okay. Yeah, we hit the hardwood. Now, we're going to go ahead and screw this in to help hold it in place while we're doing the rest of them. Good gosh, those are little bitty flatheads. I didn't notice that when I dug them out, but oh well. They're actually a little bit long. You'd be better off with some a little bit shorter ones that won't show through on the inside. Well, I may change them out later. I just didn't have any short ones. And these are tightening up so good, we're not going to have to CA these holes. I mean, that thing snugged up really nice. So we're good there. Now, hold this down solid, and we're going to drill a hole. Make sure this stays centered. We're going to drill a hole on this side right behind that little bulkhead. And it should come out right in front of the dashboard, and it did. So now let's do that one. And get it started here. Gosh darn it. I want to stay on my drilled hole, that's for sure. Because that's so soft, it'll start somewhere else. So here. Find my screwdriver again. Okay, that one snugged down really nice and tight. Okay, now it's got the front is a little bit loose, so we do not want to get air into that. So we've got to be sure and drill right in the center of that thing. Now I'm looking down that little spar. It is right there. Okay. Got that marked. We're going to drill a little hole in that. Look at that, right through the middle of it. My eyeball's pretty good. I was going to tell you to back these out and put CA in the holes, but they're fitting so tight that we are not going to have to do that. Okay? But this is why I like to do the screws. Is like if I ever, for whatever reason, say I wanted to pull this off and put a camera in there or something. You know, you can do things like that. So what you have to do if you put a camera inside your canopy, though, is you're going to have to drill wherever the on and off button is. You're going to have to drill a little bitty hole so you can take a piece of metal and stick in there and turn it on with. It's the only drawback to that. Oh, well, I just about poked a hole in it. Golly, dadgummit. That's what happened. I let my screwdriver slip off my screw. Okay, that one's snug. Made a little dent right there. I can put a little piece of covering over that if I want to, but it'd probably be alright. I might be able to heat it out with the heat gun. Now, I left sawdust in there, so I'm going to have to pull this back off to get all the, well, maybe I can blow it out the front. Yeah, I think I got most of it. Alright, this is fitting so well that now all we're going to need, we're not going to need anything on the back edge of it. We'll just put one right here in the corner, right here in this back corner, and that's going to be plenty to hold this. While I'm at it right here, though, let me show you my grandson Ben. He and I both love the Minions, of course, and he helped me pick this little Minion pilot to go in this plane. I cut his little feet off, sanded the bottom of him kind of flat, and I put him on there and marked it, and I drilled 2 holes in the bottom of this, and I used little wood screws with washers and screwed them into him to hold him in place. So it's better than gluing. I've glued them before, but then the vibration, I've had them come loose and be flopping around there. So if you bolt them, if you can, if it's a solid enough material, you can bolt it and it'll work better. Now we want this back side down snug. So, and we're going to drill right here in this corner. Put one in that. Make sure my sawdust didn't go in there again. I'm drilling the hole. See if I can manage to keep my screwdriver on there this time. Excuse me. Okay. Nice and snug. One more. Now we're going to hold this down, stretch it down here good and tight, and we're going to drill a hole in that corner, even with the other side. Okay. Put our screw in that. Lay it down here so I can get some leverage and guide it in there. There you go. Now I'll show you why I don't like these screws, but I'll change them. I'll change them out later. They're too long. And get this tightened down if I can. You can see the ends of them. I don't know. There you go. You see the ends of them inside here. So I will get a little bit shorter screws and replace these 2 back ones. The front ones you can't see because they're way up under the dash. This one is under here, but that's not going to hurt anything. Now our canopy's nice and tight. I do have sawdust up in it. Squeeze this right here open and get an air hose and blow in there and get that out. Or I can take it back off. I may do that. Alright, there's our little Minion, nice and snug. Now I do have a little bit of overlap back here, but that's okay. This fits nice and snug. It has a tab on the front up here. It goes in a slot. And very strong magnets on the back. I mean, you can pick the whole plane up and that ain't gonna come off. So there we go. We'll polish that up and get all of our fingerprints off of it. there's our canopy. Got screws in it if we ever need to remove it for whatever reason. I much prefer doing that. There's 3 options of doing this. You can glue it on like they say in the manual. A little bit of slack right there. Probably I may have to put 2 more right here in the side, so we'll have to see what kind of air gets under it. I think it'll be alright. But I may go ahead and put 2 more right here in the sides. Now, you can glue it on like they say in the manual, but let me show you something. Let me get it out here. You want to use Canopy glue. It's especially made for this. It's almost like a thin white Elmer's glue sort of. Shake it up really, really well. Get you some Canopy glue if you're going to be gluing windshields or something on. Side windows, anything, because it dries clear. If you use CA or epoxy on this, you're going to make a mess. You're going to have little glue spots showing everywhere. Get you some Canopy glue. This is Great Plains, no it's not, Pacer, Formula 560, says the world's best canopy glue. I'm sure they all do. Anyway, I have another one over there. It's a different brand, but just get you some good canopy glue if you're going to be doing this. Shake it up really, really well. And you'll see in the instructions, but you put a little bead of it underneath here. You got to very carefully set your canopy on here and then tape it down with masking tape all around it, and then let that set overnight till it dries good. The drawback to that is if you ever need to get it off, it's going to be a little tougher to get loose. Okay. Number 2, you can screw it on like I did. Number 3, they make, I believe it's Top Flight striping tape. You can get it in a 1/16 inch, an 1/8 inch, and a 1/4 inch. A little bitty skinny, wide, and whatever. And it's flexible. In other words, it stretches. You can kind of bend it around corners. I get mine at Tower Hobbies. I'm pretty sure it's Top Flight striping tape, and it's really handy. I have a whole drawer full of it over here. But you could get black, and you could put that around the edge of this. Then what you'd have to do here on the side is get it on the edge of this and then fold it under and stick it to this. That works pretty good too. Oh, every 2 or 3 years it might start coming loose. You might have to change it, but that's an option. That way it's easy to get off if you need it. But my favorite is the screws. A little bit more of a pain in the butt, but it's my favorite way to do it. So I've got that little bit of slack right there, so I am going to put 2 more screws in the side of it just to be sure and hold it down good. I don't want any air getting up under it. So that's how we do that. Canopy is all done. Landing gear's on, and the wings are done. So all we have left is to mount the engine on this thing, and it'll be ready to fly. So the next time I work on it, we'll mount the engine. I do want to show you one other thing. Okay, on most airplanes, you have a switch. Let me get one out here if I can find one. What did I do with it? Come on. Here's one. I should have a little one somewhere back here. Well, I can't find the small one, but most of you guys know what the older small ones look like. And there's just a little switch by itself. And if you look, most planes come, okay, if you look on the opposite side here, see that cutout? That's for just a regular little switch. If you use that kind of switch, then you have to use a separate charge jack. Well, you wouldn't necessarily have to, because you can open this real easy to get your battery, but most people put a charge jack. There's one of these cutouts on either side. The thing is, when the wing's on here, the wing covers about that much of the width of the fuselage, so there's not much space. The switch will barely fit. You'd have to put it way back here or up here in the side, and then that would be kind of a, well, no, you could put it right there real easy and get to the wiring. But here's the deal. I use these big heavy duty switches that have a charge jack built in. Normally I mount it in the side of my plane. Okay, when you have a plane with a canopy that comes on and off, you don't have to bolt it on, it's got these real strong magnets, then I build a little tray in here and I mount my switch inside the plane. Therefore, you've got a clean lines on the outside, no switches or anything showing. I'm going to invert the engine, mounted inverted, so the only hole in the cowl will be where the head comes out. Just open the bottom up with a V. Now, depending on where the needle valve is, I may have to have one little hole for the needle valve adjustment. Now, I can't remember if I mount it inverted, if it's going to be on the side or the top. I'm not sure. Right now I'm putting a 62 4-stroke, OS 62V 4-stroke. As soon as I can, Christmas coming up, I got to watch what I'm doing. My wife gave me the evil eye. We got a lot of grandkids by 4. But anyway, after Christmas, I'm going to buy some OS GGT 10cc gas engine. They're gas glow. They run on gasoline mixture, oil mix like a weed eater, but they still have a glow plug, so you don't have the weight of an ignition on these smaller planes. The 10cc is equivalent to an OS 55AX, and that's a pretty stout little engine. So that's what they're equivalent to. So I'm going to change this out. It should bolt right to the same bolt pattern. Head will be coming out of the bottom, and we won't have any holes in our cowl. You also have the option on this plane to mount it with the head up and no cowl. But I'm going to do it inverted with a cowl. I just like the looks of it a little better. So, all right, boys and girls, that's it for this one. Like I say, the next round, I think we're done, except for the engine. I'm pretty sure that's all we got to do, and then set the throws and balance it. Now, we won't mount the battery. I got to mount the switch and battery. I'll probably do that on the engine section. Mount it, and we'll wait till the very last to figure out where we're going to put the battery. The manual shows to put it right here, but we're going to wait and see how it balances. We're going to set that battery on top of here until we find right where the plane bounces, so we don't have to add any extra weight. If I go ahead and mount the battery here and it's nose heavy, then I got to cut a hole in the bottom of it and put weight in the back. I don't want to do that if I can keep from it. I've already got just probably a couple ounces extra weight from the wheels I put on. They're slightly heavier. But anyway, there you go. Landing gear and canopy. Part 4, we'll be back and do the engine. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.